Okay, so today is an important day in the events of things. So it's it's September 22nd. Most of you know that I've been quoting from a certain book over and over again, and it came in the mail today. Fighting for Honor. The History of African Martial Art Traditions in the Atlantic World. T.J. Dush-Obi. It says on the back, T.J. Dush-Obi received his doctorate in African history from the University of California, Los Angeles. His research focuses on historical ethnography, which he explores through the lens of African and African diaspora martial arts. He is an assistant professor of African and African diaspora history at the City University of New York's Baruch College. So, let me go to the page that I constantly reference. I've went to this, ever since I ordered the book. I've wanted to do this for quite some time. Yes, so page 11. Mastering either art could bring a skilled practitioner respect for his graceful execution, the admiration of potential wives, and economic advancement. Each art provided a path of spiritual development that could take an exceptional adept to one of the highest forms of honor in Africa, the status of a transcendent hero. So page 11, the introduction, last paragraph. I think I'm going to upload this on YouTube first, and so it's probably going to be blurry. So let me just give you, if you can see it, you're going to have to, I just recommend pausing it. I'm going to go like this, Okay. So last paragraph, I'm talking about here. So anyway, I think we all somewhat understood this idea, but when you have a college professor telling you what I'm telling you, and who wrote a book that he worked with many people to make, let me just read that part, because I think it's in the beginning where he talks about all the people who helped him. Acknowledgements. Several institutions contributed research funding: the Social Science Research Council, the Fulbright Fellowship Program, the University of California's Presidential Fellowship Program, the Ford Foundation, the City University of New York's PSCCUNY program, whatever, the UGM Lang Research Fellowship, and the National Endowment of the Humanities. So he goes on about Herman Henning for seeing the value of this project, Penn Center, the National Archives of Nambia, on and on, just on and on. He says, beyond the people who helped me with earlier phases of research, I have had the support of numerous mentors, colleagues, and friends. Edward A. Alpers, just on and on. Insights of Michael Gomez, and on, and scholars and feedback and people he wants to emulate. And then that I have been able to write a history of martial arts tradition due to the people who have guided me to the real experts and the openness of these masters to share the wisdom with me. So there was a ton of martial art masters who helped him with this. So I think it is impossible not to acknowledge that I am right, and I was right before I ever brought this book. Do you really think I would have used these ideas without referencing it? This gave me priceless proof that I was right about the things that I've been claiming ever since Illuminati Part 1. I talked about the ancient ideas, the cultural ideas. I talked about how Egypt merged warfare, science, and religion, and mythology, and astrology, and astronomy all into one subject. And they had different temples that focused on different aspects of these things, but all the temples incorporated all these things. We see different goddesses and gods called gods of war. Horus is the god of war. Sekhmet is also called a god of war, and so on and so forth. And obviously Set, there's attributes of a god of war in him as well. War is part of chaos, the chaos of war. War is part of order as well. And so, I just really thought it was very important for you to understand, because I made the claim that good-looking men who make less than $50,000 a year have it worse in dating relative to life in a non-materialistic state. In other words, if we lived in a non-capitalist or non-materialistic state, even in a communist state, there's going to be aspects of some people drifting toward people who are doing better than others, who work with what they have better, and who have better networks and know how to get things better and know how to provide, But in a non-materialistic state where there isn't that much difference between one man and the next financially, people like me are pretty much the most sought after males, But when you have a materialistic state, the transcendent hero who fights for honor is not appreciated. Now think about the African village. You know, some people have cattle, some people don't. That plays into it as well. But even if you had a ton of cattle, you wouldn't be as respected as the transcendent hero. But we do not see that in capitalism. In capitalism, we see all the celebrities trying hard to date super rich men, sleeping with super rich men for a lot of money behind the scenes. You know, pretty much every celebrity you see, their bodies are for sale to rich people, typically in secret societies, to pay, you know, as much as $1 million to sleep with them. I mean, there's a lot more that goes on in Hollywood than you would believe, that you understand. You know, the heroes, you know, you might see CNN do a little piece on heroes and blah, blah, blah. And what even qualifies as a hero is not quite the same as a skillful adept, as a martial arts master who's reached the level of being a transcendent hero. You cannot call yourself a transcendent hero and be in a secret society, or be part of the system, or be a homosexual, or be a unrepentant sinner. A transcendent hero, though he may have made mistakes in the past, is a repentant sinner. He realizes what is wrong, and he does what is right. He transcends the material world, and he uses his skills to fight for honor. And honor and God, these things are connected. They are inextricably interconnected. They are intertwined. They are fused. You cannot be a man of honor without being a man of God. Though you can be, you know, you can have some sort of honor. What I mean by a man of honor is a man of true honor. That's what I should have said. You cannot be a man of true honor without truly being a man of God. You can have a certain amount of honor, you know, but let's face it, you know, all the spiritual bottom feeder philosophies, which are godless philosophies, really, are being held by people who aren't men of God, obviously, you know, and they lead you to dishonor. When you're an atheist, you don't honor religion, you disrespect religion, you don't have the honor to respect religious people. You've taken a stance that not only do you not believe in God, but you say that you know that there is no God, as opposed to being agnostic who says that they don't know. I thought I would go over this thoroughly. I'm fighting for honor. I'm the top martial artist, and I'm being persecuted for my political views because the people in charge are a bunch of pansies. And the last thing these namby-pamby fucking pussies want to have happen is for people to respect a transcendent hero who fights against them rather than respecting them. So they try to control their opposition for many reasons, including that, especially that, so that they could then say, well, you know, this guy, you know, they can then tell the person who's telling you what to think, you know, who's got your, you know, who has earned a certain amount of reverent power, earning it by cheating or otherwise, you know, in disreputable fashion, in a dishonorable fashion. And then they tell you, well, I'm an atheist, or, you know, I'm for gay rights, and, you know, bitch shit, you know. But can you be fighting for honor and be controlled? No. Can you be a conformist in Babylon's system and fight for honor? No. You're fighting for Babylon. You're fighting for fame. You're fighting for the respect of your peers who don't know better. A bunch of ignorant fools, the ignorant masses. The respect of the ignorant masses is not worth the respect of one wise, honorable man. You know, and the people on top of the secret society structure, they may be knowledgeable, they may be well educated, but they are not wise and they are not honorable. You know, all the most educated people put together, if they have no honor, are worth less than one honorable man who's completely fucking ignorant. All the most educated people put together, if they have no honor, are worth less than one wise man, because you cannot be wise without having honor. Wisdom means you understand why it's important to have honor. Wisdom means you understand why it's important to transcend. Wisdom means you understand why it is important not to help the New World Order. That's being wise. Transcend. Own your mistakes. Repent. If your brother sins, rebuke him. Luke, I believe it's Luke, I just cited it today. I think it's Luke 14:3. I could be wrong. I'll put it in the comments. If your brother sins, rebuke him. If he repents, forgive him. And it's also written in another part of the Bible. I think it's Matthew or Mark. I forgot the verse. It's basically saying the same thing in different words. Fighting for honor. Ask yourself, are these despicable cowards better than one African man fighting for honor? One honorable man of principle, wise man fighting for honor. How could any of these spiritual bottom feeders, no matter how much money they have, no matter how many women they have, no matter how much power they have, how could they be worth more than one of these? They cannot. It is impossible. Those people who say nothing is impossible, well, I do tell you this, it is impossible. It is absolutely, utterly impossible for one of these spiritual bottom feeders to be worth more than one of these. And I would add, at the time, they're a spiritual bottom feeder, because of course, even they may repent. That's between them and God. You know? I personally don't respect people who's lived their whole life as scum, and then, you know, the last few years of their life they repented. I don't respect it. I don't know how God feels about it. I don't respect it. But, you know, to be fair, these people could repent. They could say, well, I'm not right. I need to fight for honor. I need to fight for God. I need to do right. You know? And, you know, speaking on I think one of the more complicated among those people are the gays. The gays are probably the most confused. Of all these people, the feminists, the atheists, the racists, the worst criminals, the Satanists, the gays are the most confused, you know, to be fair. I might have been too harsh to put them at number 3 because they're the most confused. You know, they don't know whether or not being gay is genetic or, you know, it's environmental. They're confused. They don't understand how they can be born this way, and it, you know, how they can think that they're born this way, and that, you know, it could be a sin. They're confused. You know, so when you look at it, you know, I'm gonna end this gay talk, you know, right here. It's really gays' rights goes along with freedoms. Now, what freedoms are, you know, should we have and should we haven't? I mean, should we not have? You know, the freedom to kill people, to abort your baby, to be a pedophile, to be gay, to have sex with animals, and so on and so forth. What freedoms should we have, and what freedoms should we not have? Should we have the freedom to have guns? I think so. Should we have the freedom to have nuclear bombs? I don't think we should. But, you know, then there's the state, the nation's freedom versus the individual's. And then, so ultimately, what I believe is the most correct form of government is a religious state. I believe that our laws should reflect the laws in the Bible. And we should consider the infraction. We should consider the breach of these laws and why someone did it. And we should try to help them, but we should also punish them. That being said, I believe that a religious state is the most important form of government that is almost never. I can't think of a single example. Perhaps in ancient Israel or something, you know, they had a religious state. But I can't think of one example, you know, in the last 2,000 years, especially, you know, of a powerful religious state, of a true religious state that wasn't run by secret societies under the facade of being a religious state. And so, you know, that being said, I pretty much covered everything I wanted to cover. I didn't elaborate as much as I want to. I just wanted to show you that, you know, I got the book. It cost me damn near $50, you know, and it was worth it. It's a pretty big book. It's hardcover. You know, the price of books have gone up. I looked up the average price just to see if I was really getting a decent price for it. For hardcovers, I think it was about $27. And I said, you know what? You know, this book is worth twice as much as any other book. You know, there's some books, and I'll show you examples. There's some books that I would pay $50 for. This is one of them. You know, The Wonders of the African World, Henry Louis Gates Jr. Beautiful book, wonderful book, pretty thick book. A lot of pictures in it, but, you know, pictures can be a good thing. Good book. These two books together are worth $100, you know. Some of you spend $100 on drugs in a couple of days, you know. $100 on alcohol in a week, you know. And look what else you can get. You can truly make yourself a man of honor and enlighten yourself. If you read both of these books, you will know you won't know everything about Africa, obviously, but you will be very enlightened compared to what you were before. Very worthwhile endeavor. And they used to say, you know, if you want to hide something from the black man, hide it in a book. You know, it's absolutely disgraceful that there's some truth in that statement. So, you know, as I'm running out of time here, you know, I probably want to upload this to YouTube at some point, so I'm gonna have to end it here. I'd like to say that, you know, keep fighting for honor, keep fighting for God, do the right thing. Don't let a bunch of spiritual bottom feeders confuse you about what is right. Repent while you still can, because we never know when we're going to die. Thank you.